French fries have two key ingredients, fat and potatoes, and most American recipes get both of them totally wrong, at least if you're trying to be authentic. French fries supposedly have their origins with Belgian frites, and beef tallow is the traditional frying fat in Belgium. And if you look up recipes for frites, they'll usually mention tallow and the importance of double frying, but only recently did I find out that recipes like this are still Americanized because they're calling for the wrong potato. While America's test kitchen would have you believe that Idaho russets are obviously the best, Belgians have been making frites long before Idaho russets even existed, and they use a variety called binchi, if I'm pronouncing that right. Compared to russets, binchi potatoes probably have a bit less starch, they're also more golden in color, and have a distinctive flavor. This is such a critical detail that I'm surprised almost never gets mentioned. I've never seen this in the dozens of recipes for Belgian frite-style French fries that I've looked at. It's like, imagine if you made risotto with a long grain rice instead of short grain. It would not work the same. These details are important, and it especially bothers me on recipes like this that claim the one and only Belgian fries, which don't call for tallow or for binchi potatoes. You had one job, to be an authentic recipe, and you completely failed. Or even worse, shops like this that literally have the word authentic out front, only to find that they use sunflower oil. Seriously? I want to know what real frites taste like. Short of flying over to Belgium, I could try making them myself. I found a recipe in this book, which I trust to be pretty authentic, but I would have to get some tallow. You can find it pre-made and buy it, or you can make it yourself. You just buy scraps of beef fat, cut it up, slowly heat and render it over a few hours, and strain it. Easy enough. But finding binchi potatoes would be a problem, because I've never seen them here in America, not even at the hipstery farmers markets. But as an amateur gardener, I suppose I could buy some seed potatoes and grow them myself. So I did. I didn't get a very big yield, and they're not the prettiest spuds in the world, but I got enough of a harvest to justify the effort. Never let it be said that I don't put in the necessary effort for my experiments. A few other things make Belgian frites distinctive. They're thicker than most American fries, cut to about 10 to 13 millimeters. You either have to be very careful and confident in your knife skills. Honestly, it's not the end of the world if your fries aren't perfectly consistently cut. Some chefs even prefer them to be irregular, or you can splurge on a specialized cutting device like this. And word of advice, you absolutely have to buy one that's made mostly of metal. The cheap plastic ones don't cut it for very long. Ask me how I know. Another thing is rinsing. While most American recipes say you need to rinse the cut potatoes, Belgian recipes usually tell you to not rinse. I covered all of this in another video, and the takeaway was that while rinsing helps the fries be less sticky and it rinses off sugars that can brown too quickly, it really doesn't make much difference in the crispness or the texture of the fries. But because frites are thicker, most Belgian recipes call for longer cook times and more moderate temperatures. An American recipe might do the first fry at 325 Fahrenheit for 3 minutes, but Belgian recipes go as low as 130 Celsius or 266 Fahrenheit for 5 to 8 minutes. So for my test, I'm making Belgian-style frites in tallow side by side with American-style fries, russet potatoes fried in peanut oil. And using a hot pot with a divider allows me to maintain consistent temperatures between the two batches for a fair comparison. After a double fry on both, the final taste test. French fries and Belgian frites. Well, I don't want to call these French fries. They're very American. Freedom fries. American fries. Okay, the binchi potatoes do seem to have a little bit creamier texture, and they do bring a little bit more flavor of their own compared to the Idaho potatoes. Even though the frites were fried in tallow, they don't taste beefy at all, I wouldn't say. The frites don't taste terribly different. Granted, these are homegrown potatoes. They might not be the best quality binchi potatoes you have available. I'm sure they're better where they're grown in Belgium. I guess the closest American comparison is like Yukon Gold potatoes. The binchis are a bit more like that. As far as crispness goes, I'd say the American style fries, especially as they start cooling down, they're only just very subtly crispy, whereas the frites seem just a bit more consistently crispy throughout. I'd say the frites only tasted a little better than the American fries. It was fun to try to replicate them in my kitchen, though I do look forward to having frites in Belgium someday. I'm sure they're better there. But I wanted to see if it was the potato or the tallow making the frites crispier, so I did a second batch with russet potatoes, split between the tallow and the oil to compare those side by side. It didn't seem to make a difference initially. When these are hot, fresh out of the fryer, I'm not noticing much difference in the texture. But after they cooled down, gosh, I can feel a difference when I just touch the surface of the fries. Like the tallow fried ones seem lighter and drier. The long one here only droops a little bit compared to the American fry that goes especially on the middle of the fry. These oil fried ones have almost completely lost their crispness. The tallow fried ones do seem to be staying crisper longer. Tallow, what secrets do you hold? Why do you make such good fries?